Hello again. I'm back with another Neopets video. I thought that since we got a little teaser for the new plot, it would be fun just to kind of go over the information we have so far and see what we can extrapolate from it. Maybe there are people out there who have sort of their own theories, and have things to add that I didn't even think of, but this is sort of what I'm getting and what I'm thinking. So yeah, I thought it would just be fun to share that with you in this video. So first and foremost, I think I'll just sort of go over the information that I'm going off of that we have so far. So first, and most obviously, we have the little clip from the end of the recent New Era video. And we also have this clip from the Nosy Neopians podcast where they interviewed Aesop, or featured Aesop, and I'm just going to play that little clip for you so you have the context.
We do have a few we've been talking about. There's one that we've been working really hard on. We have a team internally that has been, for the past year or two, picking apart how we're going to tackle it, and we're getting in pretty good shape with the narrative side of things. I don't want to give away too much. I definitely can't. I'll let you know now that we will visit a couple different lands across Neopia. It's not going to be just focused in one. It's going to be more of a global adventure. It'll focus on a certain fairy who I don't think we've featured enough, so I'm really excited to have them in the limelight. And we're also going to be bringing in a couple other characters that have not been featured quite enough, as well as some really new exciting characters, and possibly some older characters that you may have only seen art of but never actually had much of a story about. So I'm going to keep it very vague for you guys, but we have a lot of really exciting stuff I'm super excited to show you guys.
And then we also have, this is going a bit further, I think, in terms of just speculation, but there has been this mysterious building that has appeared in Moltara that wasn't there before. So a lot of people think maybe that has something to do with an upcoming plot. And there's also an editorial question that Aesop answered with regards to it that had some very interesting information. Hold on, I'll pull it up so I can actually read what it says. Okay, so the answer that he gave in the Neopian Times editorial was, "Oh, a tower, you say? How strange. Now that you mention it, I do see an unfamiliar building jutting out across the Multara skyline. We have heard some rumblings that an influx of technological advances across Neopia has led to entirely new businesses and corporations sprouting up all over the globe. Perhaps this new high-rise is connected? Whatever the case, I hope we're lucky enough to get a peek inside soon, maybe even sometime this year." I forget which year this was posted, actually. I don't... maybe it was this year, but I'm not sure. So anyways, those are the three pieces of information I am mainly basing my personal analysis around, but again, perhaps there's something I've overlooked that other people have picked up on, but this is really just for fun, so I'd like to hear what other people think as well. So, first of all, the most concrete piece of sort of evidence we have is obviously that teaser image with the silhouette, and I really had a hard time figuring out what kind of pet this character was supposed to be. My first thought was maybe a Kiri, because they sort of look like they have a mane and maybe that face shape, and the ears are kind of obscured behind the text, so I thought maybe they were just, two pointy little Kiri ears, but then I looked at the tail, and if it were a Kiri, the tail would be quite a bit fluffier, I would think. So then I was looking again, and I noticed that the ears actually kind of looked like they were on top of little antennae, and the tail looked quite a bit like an Aisha tail. But those would be like really short little antennae for an Aisha, sorry. I always say Aisha, because that's how I've always read it in my head, even though I know it's Aisha. So I apologize if I mispronounce it a few times during this video. But anyways, yeah, those, why are they so short? Maybe they compressed them to fit within the image or make it more mysterious. If it is even an Aisha, I don't know. Or they're just sort of bent back at a weird angle. I'm not sure. I think, I don't know. It doesn't, the silhouette really doesn't fit to any other pet I can think of. Just analyzing sort of the tail shape and the shape of the ears, I'm honestly not sure, but so Aisha's really my most solid bet. um, but going off of that, yeah, it's not really, it doesn't really tell us much about what the plot is going to be about. I mean, just to know what species the character is, but they do seem to have some kind of magic in their hand. Maybe, I'm not sure. And the title is The Void Within. I'm not sure. I'm assuming that's the final title for it, if that's what they're putting out into the world as their big announcement. So, I would be very surprised if they changed that. But, anyways, so I don't know what. So, The Void Within, it kind of got me thinking back to the Aesop interview where he said that, um, th- assuming the plot he's talking about that they were working on is this same plot, The Void Within. And I imagine it would be, that would be a lot of work to throw away, um, if they completely change directions. And it seemed like if they are putting out this teaser, they already had some um, things finalized before the management switch. So I would assume that this is the same plot we're talking about. So, anyways, in that clip, he said that one of the things was it would focus on a fair. Oh no, wait! I think there was another. Was there another article? Oh wait, never mind. Sorry, I got confused for a second. He said that there it would focus on a fairy who we haven't seen enough of, or hasn't sort of had enough of a spotlight. And for me, that kind of made me think, maybe either of Balia, the Grey Fairy, or Judora. Um, and the reason why I thought those two was, sort of the idea of giving a fairy a spotlight who has been sort of iconic but has never really had their own, sort of feature in a plot or an event. Especially Judora, she's a very iconic character to the site, but she's always sort of just existed in site lore. She's never really been a big part of any plots or events, at least that I can recall. Or, like Illusin was in The Darkest Fairy, but Judora, she doesn't really have anything. And she's also very heavily featured, I noticed, on the new Neopets homepage. So that could also tie in to getting her sort of prepared for to launch her into this new plot. Because my train of thought is jumping all over this place. I wrote down, I had like this whole like sort of red yarn conspiracy map that I did when I was trying to solve all of this, or not solve, but try to put together what I could and how different things could relate and interconnect. Because when I hear the void within. Void could relate to darkness potentially, and Eudora is a dark fairy, and I think a lot of people would really love to see more of her character explored, and um, what was the big thing that created this rivalry, this rift between her and Illusin. And that's been such a big point of speculation in the Neopets fandom for such a long time. But anyways, yeah, I would love to see something in a plot that really goes more in depth into the relationship. So that could be that part of the void. Maybe it um, sort of relates to darkness, dark magic somehow. And another interpretation could be like a sense of emptiness and depression, which could relate to a gray fairy. Gray fairies are fairies who've lost their wings and their magic and their sort of fairy identity. So that could be sort of an interesting interpretation of void, which could relate to Balia, perhaps. I think that would be really cool to explore as well. So yeah, I think those are two fairies that could get more of a spotlight in a lore sense that they haven't really had before. There are a lot of fairies that this could be referring to. Oh, and speaking of fairies, another sort of connection that I made. Okay, this is a bit of a leap on my part, but because in Aesop said, like one of the other things was that not only a fairy, so maybe there could also be multiple fairies in this, who knows, but characters, old characters that we haven't really seen a lot of, or that we may have only heard of or seen art of. And that made me think of Salandra, who is Queen Fiora's maid. The reason why I thought of this was because I thought it was really interesting that she was highlighted in the Advent calendar this year, or last year, technically, I suppose. And she even got her own item, and she's very much an obscure character in the Neopets lore. I believe she's only mentioned in the Neopia article. I think it's for the Hidden Tower. Don't quote me on that. I forget which one it is exactly, but it's one of the Fairyland related articles. But yeah, maybe Salandra could appear in this plot. Um, because that sort of ties into everything. Old characters, fairies. Um, I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, there are a lot of characters that could be referring to, and I do think it's just so exciting to see, like, not just to have new characters, but to have the lore as it exists sort of expanded on, and the world further explored. And that sort of brings me to the next point of the Multaran Tower, and the fact that in the Nosy Neopians episode, Aesop said that this would be a plot that explores multiple lands. It doesn't have just one setting. It's sort of, I think he said, a global sort of adventure. So yeah, so maybe Voltara will have something to do with it, and the mention of technological advancements makes me think of virtue pets, and I don't know if that's going to be a thing in it or not. That could be pretty exciting, going to space. I don't know. But like the mention of technology does make me think of that, because the space station is really, like, canonically the only the place that has, like, very advanced modern technology. Everywhere else in Neopia, things are more sort of rudimentary, like they don't use computers and things like that. So I think it's a quite a curious thing. I wonder where all of these technological advancements are coming from. The first thought is Dr. Sloth, but I don't know. As much as I'd like to see Dr. Sloth appear again, um, I think it would be also quite interesting to see a new villain arise. And just sort of because he may, like, it could even be a thing where a situation where things he set in motion are sort of taking hold, but he is not currently directly connected to it. Like, for example, a couple years ago, I think it was, with the Festival of Neggs, and how Topsy was actually a killer robot who was designed by Dr. Sloth, and he'd just been chilling all these years totally fine until he got wet and just lost it. So that it could be something, um, where um, it's a situation where things are pre-existing, but something has just triggered all of this new technology and these advancements in science to sort of come to fruition at this moment in time. I don't know, it could be sort of the culmination of a bunch of different things. Also, okay, this is not really related, but the fact that they use the Defenders of Neopia for their the little banner image for their Medium article got me thinking about them and thinking how cool it would be to have a plot centered around the Defenders of Neopia, because they are kind of, I mean, we get the little comics for the different missions, but they're also kind of characters we haven't seen explored a lot outside of that. So I think that could be interesting, and I also think, like, as much as I love all these sort of unique fantasy worlds with their the specific theming and their own sort of aesthetic, I really would love to see a plot that at least partly focuses on Neopia Central. I think it would be just so cool to see more of an adventure that starts out with what everyday life is like for the citizens of Neopia. I think that would be something really interesting, because we haven't really seen a lot of just that sort of slice of life element incorporated into Neopets plots since the Champions of Meridel, I think. Then that was over 20 years ago. So yeah, that would be exciting for me at least. So I think that's about all I have to say in terms of my own speculation. I'm hopefully not forgetting everything. I think I've touched on everything that really stood out to me. In terms of the plot itself, I would really like personally for it to be like a hybrid battle and puzzle plot, because I just think that kind of has something for everyone. There are fun puzzles to do for people who aren't really invested in the Battle Dome. The Battle Dome people get something to actually do besides just the obelisk battles. I at least have a Battle Dome pet now who is sort of leveled enough and has decent enough items to be able to hold their own in, the plot battles and things like the obelisk and just general battle dome fights. So to me, it is exciting, even though my heart lies with puzzles. I love puzzle games. I actually wrote down my Neopets notes in my Nancy Drew notebook. I am a big fan of the Nancy Drew games as well. So, yeah, um, those are all my Nancy Drew notes in there. But I digress. I love puzzle games, but I would also be excited to have some battles worked in because the old plots were so long ago that I didn't really have that much ability to participate in the Battle Dome aspect of them because I just never was really into leveling my pets and training them. But now I do have a pet who is capable of doing those things, so I would really be excited to finally get a chance to participate in that aspect of plots. I'm really looking forward to seeing what it is. I'm really looking forward to having, hopefully, like just another comic to read and to be able to see the art. I remember when the obelisk plot came out, or was it even really a plot? I don't know. But I remember when they were putting out like the faction videos every week, and I was so excited to finally get to see the comic. And I thought there was going to be a comic, but then it just never came. So I'm really looking forward to this. I hope you are too. Um, I put a lamp here this time, so hopefully that fixed the lighting issue from last time. Somebody also said to turn the volume up, so I will try to do that in editing. I hope it sounds okay for you. And yeah, just thank you so much for watching this video. And thank you to everyone who commented and reached out to me about my last Neopets video. It really means a lot to me. I love being able to interact with this community, and I just hope we all have a brighter times ahead of us on the new site, or not the new site, but under the new management. Thanks again. Bye.